Good day everyone, welcome to the new and exciting lesson. By the way, I am Sheila Sango from section ED 3A. So today, I will going to discuss to you about the development of assessment tools, and under this topic are the following: the self-report, rating scale, and the semantic differential scale. But before we proceed to the meaning and the content of self-report, let us first know the use of assessment tools. So assessment tools in the affective domains are those in which used to assess the interest, the attitude, the motivations, and most especially the self-efficacy of the students. Let's now introduce self-report. Self-report class is the most common measurement tool in the affective domain. According to Santos 2007, these self-report are sometimes called written reflections because when we try to think about self-report, we often think first the structured questionnaires that measures the personality traits of the students. This self-report is essentially requires an individual to provide an account of his or her attitude or feelings toward a concept or idea or people. It is the same with what Rico said, that students may be required to write personal opinions, journals, and reflections about learning activity. So in using this measuring tool, the teacher let the students write their opinions, just like answering the question why I like or hate the subject mathematics. With that, the teacher can gather data and the students as well can share their personal insights, their personal opinions about the topic. And based from online resources which authored by Picron 2020, self-report is required to assess the mental state in nonce ways, meaning to say that this self-report is indispensable to capture the psychological processes of learners, such as the emotions, the motivations, the strategy used, and the metacognition. Based from Kajical 2014, the students can also respond a written questionnaire or survey about themselves or other students. So based from the book of Kajigal 2014, there are two types of self-report, and these are student interview and surveys and questionnaires. In the student interview, it includes individual and group interviews, discussions, and causal conversations. While in surveys and questionnaires, it includes a constructed response format and a selected response format. So let's begin first with the student interview. This student interview, the teacher may interview the students, like answering the question why I love physics as a subject. One important advantage of this interview is that the teacher can probe answer to the answer of their students right then and right there. Let's proceed to the types of surveys and questionnaires. So, constructed response format, it is a straightforward approach asking students about their affect by responding to a simple statement or question. So that was based from the book of Kajigal 2014. And the best example for a constructed response format is this what we call essay. Just like answering the question why I love physics. So that question may be the title of an essay so that the students can determine the attitude towards the physics, their attitude towards the physics subject. And the next type of survey and questionnaires is that we have the selected response format. This selected response format, there are three ways of implementing selected response format in assessing the effective learning outcomes. These are the rating scale, the differential scale, and the checklist. Later on, I will discuss further about this rating scale and the semantic differential scale. This checklist for using students' self-report just to assess the effect. This according to Macmillan 2007 from the book of Kajigal, is that one or the following are the advantages. So when using a checklist, of course, it keep measure focus on specific effective, and also it establish a trust with the student. It also keep the questions brief, and lastly, it keeps the items simple and short. Now, let's proceed to rating scale. So when we talk about rating scale class, rating scales we can find it everywhere. They appear on surveys, applications for athletic club membership, or in students' evaluation for teaching forms at colleges or universities, and many others. So rating scales, according to Santos 2007, this is a set of categories designed to elicit information about a quantitative attribute in social science. So this suggests class that the target of a rating scale is attribute, limiting its function. It also suggests that this attribute can be a form of qualitative and quantitative data. According also to our online resources authored by the two, Garrett and the Schicknick 1933, rating scale is a device for obtaining judgment or degree to which an individual possesses certain behavior traits and attributes not readily detectable by objective tests. So when we talk about this rating scale, it is the term class used to express our opinions or judgment regarding some performance of a person, object, situation, and most especially the character. It could be a 3-point rating scale, a 5-point, or a 7-point rating scale. Then, according to Netco, we have here another authored by Netco 2011 that rating scales can be used for the teaching purposes and assessments. Why? Because according to him, rating scale have so much advantages that makes the assessment more engaging. So this, by use of rating scale, according to Netco, it helps the students understand the learning target and outcomes and to focus students' attention to performance. And also, this rating scale class helps you to show each student's growth and progress, or it really helps the teacher to show how the students grow and progress. So completed rating scales give us a specific feedback to students as far as their strengths and weaknesses with respect to the target to which they are measured. Now, one common example of rating scale is this what we call the Likert scale. So this, as you can see in the illustration, it uses a 5-point scale. From strongly disagree, we have 1 point, disagree, which is 2 points, which 2 represent as undecided, 3 as agree, and 4 as strongly agree. So that is the legend of these, the numbers above the 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, Likert scared. So in this one, you just need to rate your view of the teaching profession by putting a check in the appropriate space. And according to the book of Kajigal, there are two types of rating scales, and these are the number rating scale. A number rating scale translates the judgment of quality or degree into a numbers. This is to increase activity and the consistency of the results from numerical rating scales. So it includes a numerical descriptions of the quality level of each number that may be provided, just like what you have seen in the example. So I have here directions. You just need to indicate the degree to which the student contributes to team activity by adding or by encircling the appropriate number. So that is a direction for you to use this numeric rating scale. So by just encircling the appropriate number, you will identify the degree to which the students contributes to team activity. That is the example. We have here the 4 serve as constantly appropriate. The 3 effective, appropriate. Number 3 generally appropriate and effective. 2 needs improvement, and 1 may do other unrelated tasks or unsatisfactory. So to what extent does the students participate in team meetings and discussions? So that is how you're going to assess how you're going to rate your students by using a numeric rating scale. And another example of numeric rating scale or another types of rating scale based from the book of Kajigal is that the descriptive graphic scales. This is a better format for rating. This is a descriptive graph replaces ambiguous single word with short behavioral descriptions of the various points along the scale. An example for this, try to imagine these directions. So make your ratings on which of the following by placing X anywhere along the horizontal line under each item. Space provided at the after the table or after the ratings, or this is you will include anything that helps clarify your rating. So you will include your comments. So this is how the descriptive graphic skills look like. This is answer the question, to what extent does the student participate in team meeting and discussions? You just need to put an X anywhere along the horizontal line under each item for you to able to assess the students' participation in team meeting and discussion. We have here never participates or quite passive, participates as much as other team members, and participates more than any other team members. So that was a great example of a descriptive graphic scales. Now let's proceed to the last subtopics that is included in the development of assessment tools. We have the semantic differential scale. Are you familiar with this class? Others says yes and others says no. Semantic differential scale class, a famous American psychologist named Charles designed the semantic differential scale in the year 1974. Take note of that year, in the year 1974. So when we talk about the semantic differential scale class, according to our online resources authored by the two, Hartson and Partga 2019, it is a range of semantic values describing an attribute, and each value on the scale represents a different level of that attribute. And this semantic differential scale class, according to Kajigal 2014 again, these scales use adjectives pairs that provide anchors for feelings or beliefs that are opposite in directions and intensity. Is an attitudinal and is considered a very reliable way for us to get information or on emotions and or reactions on a wide variety of the subjects. Also, in addition, based from what Kajigal said, that this semantic differential scale class, a student should place a check between a pair of adjectives that describe a positive or a negative aspects of the trait. According to Santos, semantic differential scale tries to assess an individual's reaction, just like what I have said earlier, to specific words, ideas, or concepts in terms of ratings on a bipolar scales defined with constructing adjectives at each end. So this is the example, one great example of an semantic differential scale. As you can see from the illustrations, usually the position marked 0 class is labeled neutral. One position here are labeled slightly, and the 2 positions here labeled quiet, and the 3 positions here labeled extremely. For instance, is a 3 that is close to good would mean extremely good. For the performance of the students is extremely good, and the position of the students that is nearest in bad, of course, the students can get or have a remarks. For example, they get 2, so it is quite bad. So this scale actually measure 2 things: directionality of a reaction, example this good and bad, and the intensity, which is called the slightly is being opposite through extremely. So I have here another example for you to really understand. In this example, a student is asked to assess his science class as a whole by way of semantic differential scale as shown below. So direction, which item is true of your math class? So you just need to check the item that applies to you and mark X the item that does not apply to you. We have here 2, 1, 0, -1, -2. So there is an opposite adjectives here: exciting, boring, frustrating, demanding, and essays. This scale is very convenient method for us class to assess our belief, attitude, and values in a quantitative form, and it is very easy to administer. And lastly, this semantic differential scale provides us reasonable, valid, reliable, quantitative data. Before we proceed to our question and answer portion, let us have first a recap what we had discussed earlier, starting first with a self-report. So when we talk about self-report class, it is sometimes called as written reflections that was according to Santos, the year 2007. This student self-report class can also be derived from a way of a student interview or by a way of a survey or a questionnaires. The second one, we also discuss about the rating scale. This rating scale class is a set of categories designed to elicit information about the qualitative attribute in the social sciences. And according to Kajigal, There are two types of rating scale. These are the numerical rating scale and the graphic or descriptive graphic rating scale. And lastly, we also discuss semantic differential scales, right? So this tries to express an individual's reaction to specific words, ideas, or concept in terms of rating on a bipolar scale. Now, do you have any questions or clarifications regarding what we had discussed or about the topics? If none, thank you everyone for listening, and I hope you have learned or ascertained something.